God has not taken away men like you from our midst. We must appreciate the need to rebirth a greater and better Nigeria for all. We thank people like Dr. Mimiko, who re-energize the strength for youth to demand and be focused for what a greater Nigeria will look like if there is unity. We are ready and supportive of this initiative. We are ready to continue to put our best at your disposal to achieve a united Nigeria through this discussion. We thank you very much and welcome.
So we should go straight to the keynote address. Okay.
Now we go into the second segment of this and the business section of this great gathering. And that is the keynote addresses. The first one, entitled Professor of the Challenges of Development and National Security, 2015 and Beyond, by Professor G.G. Dara. Professor Godwin Dara. You tie Rapako?
Yes.
You please stick to the time. You wrote it, you have to skip some of the things. Dara. Even if Narapa, you tie. How many? 10. Okay.
Your Emeritus Chairman, Your Excellencies, Royal Majesties, distinguished compatriots, ladies and gentlemen, I join my voice to the recognition of the significance of this event and to emphasize the point that is a rare opportunity and we should seize it, and to thank the President for the courage to initiate this dialogue across Nigeria. I also want to add, Mr. Chairman, that the political conference which has dominated the intervention so far is the primary issue of development. We are talking about political development, and that the country's situation is such that we cannot even develop economically now unless the political problems are resolved through this conference. My second point is that unity, they say, is not negotiable. I think that a unity that is based on oppression and exploitation and inequality, that unity is negotiable. The reason why we are going to the conference is to negotiate the atrocities and iniquities that have come with 100-year-old unity in Nigeria. Because of that reason, I would like to just highlight the origin of that unity of 1914. Sometimes we assume that it was a peaceful transition. When the British came, our people fought them gallantly. There were rebellions everywhere. There were uprisings everywhere, north and south. Peasants, leaders, people were deported. Jaja Fopobo, Pepe, any name, Nana of Ishekiri, Kosoko of Lagos, Obavoyawi no Baisi of Benin. Kings, emirs were deported, dethroned for opposing the British. It was a war. But the most significant thing that should encourage us to be courageous in Abuja, because as we sit here to plan what we want to do to redeem our liberty and freedom,
from that bondage, those who are enjoying Nigeria are also strategizing. And they are going to oppose us there. They are going to filibuster. They are going to conspire so that whatever resolution you bring to the conference can be frustrated. Because those who are enjoying the sweetness of egg will never know what the chicken is going through. Amalgamation. I think that is the bond of slavery for some of us in the south of Nigeria. And it happened like this. Two Nigerias were created at that period. After the effort in Calabar, the next effort was Lokoja.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, please, audience.
And after Lokoja, between 1900 and 1914, there were also other amalgamations. But the one of 1914 was the final one. And it was done. There were two Nigerias according to the British policy at that time. Southern Nigeria and Northern Nigeria. As somebody has already observed, Northern Nigeria has kept to their own country for 100 years. We are the ones who have not risen in that direction. This is the time to emancipate ourselves. The problem arose. Captain Lugard was a Megad in the Royal Niger Company at that time. He was a security officer, and his duty was to suppress and massacre people who were opposed to the British infiltration of Nigeria. He killed, he maimed, he dethroned, he overthrew. He did it so well that he was sent to Uganda in 1913 to continue the massacre of people in Uganda. And when he finished there, he was sent to Hong Kong to do the same thing. By 1913, the British did not know what to do about these two countries. The South had resources and revenue. The Northern Protectorate had no revenue. How are you going to run that place without revenue? The British taxpayers and the parliament said they will not contribute money to run a territory in Nigeria. This dilemma was broken by the secretary to the colonial office in London, called Lord Lewis Harcourt, who wrote a memo suggesting that the two places be amalgamated. But in the amalgamation, Southern Nigeria should be wife, while Northern Nigeria should be husband. By this law, operating in Britain at that time, the husband is entitled to inherit the wealth of the wife. If you look at all the constitutions we have had for the past 100 years, look at the position we have occupied. Our resources are the ones that are plundered and diverted. It came from 1914, amalgamation. I have read all of them. The more constitution you draw, that law will find its way somewhere. So this conference we are going for, we are going to tackle those laws and abrogate them from our constitution. The first and most important, it doesn't matter whether your brother, your father, or a man from your area or a woman from your area is the president. The way the country is structured is such that the person will not be able to fulfill your expectations. That is what Mr. President has recognized, and we must congratulate him for his revolutionary courage. If you don't change the laws, you cannot have good governance. The governors will tell you what they go through, having to go to Abuja every week. Is that how they do it in India? In America? In Canada? In Australia? This caricature federation is what we are going to cure in Abuja. The Presidential Advisory Committee has set up a number of matters that should be of interest to us. There are about 38 of them. But for me, the most important thing that we will do is the